Nico Baumach's article, Film Theory's Ideology Critique After Trump, is mainly focused on the cultural shift in film analysis from that of film ideology critique to a more post-critical approach. Baumach mainly refers to Rita Flutsky's work, The Limits of Critique, to demonstrate how, partially due to the form's inability to catch up with modern times by taking into account recent technological and societal advances that have completely changed the dialect. With this in mind, there are really three main quotes in this article that really exemplify Baumach's point in regards to film ideology critique and how it's fallen off to the times, which I would like to explore in a lot more detail today. This first quote is referring to the line on page 152 in regards to how right-wing conspiracy theorists have been using the term of postmodernism to open a door of post-truth or defensive identity politics. This in turn has given right-wing extremists essentially a free card to write out any sort of ideology critique done in the media today, as they can simply write it off as something such as woke or overly leftist in that regard. A really good example of this in modern times would have to be the Barbie film. As it is a film that focuses on feminist issues, it's clear that they will have some ideology critique to it as well. But with this comes a lot of backlash in today's society, especially through means of social media in that form, where the film is regarded as extremely woke or overly leftist, to where any academic discussion about the topic in film is essentially given a lot of backlash as a whole. As Baumach continues to talk about the rise of the post-critical approach in film analysis, he mentions the irony in its place in society today. As he says, the celebration of a more healthy, imaginative post-critical stance has become familiar, though rarely seems to escape the project of anticipating its own arrival, which sucks it back into the self-canceling vortex of the critique of critique. This can be seen all over social media today, especially in the releases of new films with any slight hint of political messaging. Even critically acclaimed films such as Everything Everywhere All at Once can't escape this phenomenon, with any slight mention of things such as race politics being absolutely outright cancelled, in a regard that almost goes backwards to the idea of having a apolitical and open environment. This lack of critical analysis and discussion on these types of films and topics only leads to worse art overall, and I believe Baumach says it best when he says films and other media objects soak up ideological content and perform work on it. The most obvious way that they do so is through the narrative, the way plots invoke and resolve dilemmas around common values and aspirations. But ideology subsists as much as in the dominant formal tropes and platforms as it does narrative content. The films and videos worth arming are able to interrupt in some way the ideological indexes of our shared current experience. What this means is that without the political discussion and critical analysis of certain films and topics, it's only going to result in companies playing it safe and not innovating on these certain ideas, resulting in companies such as Disney, who are already putting out live-action remakes and constant sequels to franchises that they've milked dry. Without this sort of discussion, there is no innovation in the art that we make, which only results in worse films and creations overall.